Everybody, grateful to be here. Yeah, step one, I also wanted to comment on what we read. But admitted we were powerless over alcohol that our lives had become unmanageable. I knew I was powerless over alcohol after I started drinking when I was 16 years old. If I had one drink, I could tell you that I don't know how many more I'm going to have, where I'm going to end up, what's going to go down. I'm going to probably have a blackout and possibly get arrested or do something stupid. I knew that since I was 16, 17 years old. But the thing is, I kind of accepted that. And I just hung in there because I didn't think there was a better way of life, I thought, a lot of people drink. Some get into trouble, some don't. F it. That's my lot in life. If I go through a bunch of bad shit, that's it. So I knew I was powerless, and I did not want to do anything about it. And as far as thinking my life was unmanageable, hell no. I lose a job. I lost a lot of jobs, but I could always get another job. I could always get another girlfriend. Get evicted, I could get another place to live. You name it, because I was a chameleon. I never thought my life was unmanageable because I would just adapt and tell myself, hey, everything is fine. Steve, you're on probation for 10 years. It's fine. We'll get through it, But I had to really admit that I needed to do something. So I had to kind of change it and say that my life had become unlivable. In other words, the juggling act was over. It's either live or die. I was tired of the juggling act, being the chameleon, and basically became, do I want to live or die? And the problem was, I'd been around AA since I was 20. I've been around this place, but it never worked for me, and I couldn't figure it out. Why? And part of the reason is because I thought, shit, what am I going to do without alcohol and drugs? Life is going to suck. There's going to be no fun. Not going to have any friends. How can I enjoy life being a dry, sober, one of those goody two-shoe people in AA? So I never did what was suggested as a program of recovery. In other words, because I never tried it, I didn't know there could be another life without the alcohol and drugs. So I had to come to that point where I knew I was powerless, but what am I going to do? Do I want to live or just kill myself? So that's why I came in here, to find out, yes, I'm powerless over alcohol, and also found out when I got sober, I'm powerless over alcohol sitting here right now. I know I'm powerless when I drink. That's a given. But I'm powerless right now. In other words, I'm fucked. Because if I'm powerless, that means at some point or another, I am going to drink. So therefore, I'm fucked. Excuse my French. So that's where step 2 comes in. I got to find the unfucker, the God. But see, that's what this thing is about. And up to this point, let me just reiterate in the book, they've kind of described to us step 1 and step 2 to really get it, to understand what powerless and unmanageability and the reason I need this program. And at the beginning of this chapter, like I was going to comment, is this first couple paragraphs sets us up. In English you learn, they tell you what they're going to tell you in the big picture, then they tell you, and then they summarize it. So what they're doing here is saying, hey, we're telling you about step 1 and step 2. We told you about them, and there's some excuse. I'm going to say it in my own words. There's some excuses where this might not work if you're totally insane or incapable of being honest with yourself, which maybe I was that too. No, they're saying basically there's no excuse. Most people will get it if you do the work. Some of these we block, blah, blah, blah. So they're just telling us half measures availed us nothing. They're telling me, you got to take this action, Here, we told you about step 1 and 2, and if I believe that, now it's time to take some action, and actually this is setting us up for step 3 and forward. But so I had to really get step 1 before I'm even going to read this book. I'm not, if I don't get step 1, I'm not going to read any further than maybe the preface and the doctor's opinion or whatever. So I had to it's very important, and they tell us, I hear it all the time, that's the only step I have to do right. So it's a very important step to realize, in my words, I'm going to drink whether I want to or not, and I'm fucked, because every time I drink, bad shit happens, get arrested, hospital. It always happens, not once in a while, always almost happens. So I'm fucked, and my life is unlivable, and that's where I was at to get in this program. I had nothing. I'm telling you, I got out of prison, they don't let you keep your shit. You lose everything, unless you have a lot of money going in there and have it sent somewhere. So you get out of there with nothing. A couple changes of clothes, $100, nowhere to live. You're not going to get a job with felonies until they trust you for several years. So you're basically fucked, and you have nothing, and no one's going to help you anymore because I've been such a shithead. So that's where I come into my step 1. I'm going to live or I'm going to die. So that's where I want to try this program. And that's where the rest of these steps come in. And I found out from doing this, it actually works. So that's where I'm at. Thanks. Everybody, grateful to be here. Yeah, step 1, I also wanted to comment on what we read. But